Here we are on this 15th anniversary of September 11, 2001, an attack on the United States and its people. And yet I have the very same words that I've uttered since this healing field was established 12 years ago. It's with mixed feelings that we gather here to remember those who lost their lives on that day. We felt sadness for the loss of loved ones. As Mayor Mitchell noted, they were mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, friends. And from that sense of loss and the magnitude of the horror, we felt anger and frustration, even hate. But we have also felt honor and determination and hope for the future. Yet from the horrors of that event and the loss of so many lives on this 15th anniversary, at this time in history, and with so much political turmoil at home and abroad, and after feeling so many of these emotions on and about 9/11 over these last 15 years, on this day, I hope we can all feel an immense gratitude and a sense of peace. That may sound peculiar, but let me explain why I at least feel that way. As I consider this day and the meaning it holds, I think of all of those who lost their lives on that day, each represented by a flag in this field before us. I think of those who were the first casualties in what we now know as a war on terror. They were directly and heinously murdered by the terrorists. These 33 people were the members of the flight crews of American Airlines Flight 11, United Airlines Flight 175, American Airlines Flight 77, and United Airlines Flight 93. Each was savagely murdered by the hijackers of their aircraft with their passengers aboard. We understand that these flight crew members did their best to protect and defend those in their care, and each gave their last full measure of their devotion to others. Then there were the innocent victims of the attacks who were going about their days and their lives, taking a flight for business, for pleasure, for family. In fact, as that aircraft passes, I remind there are going to be a number of them going over us this evening. On this evening, I think of that as the sound of freedom. They were taking flights for business and for pleasure, for family. They went to work in the Twin Towers in New York or reported for duty in the Pentagon. They were supporting their families, contributing to their businesses and the success of our nation. Or even, many were directly working to uphold the safety and defense of our country. Each of those people, men and women, boys and girls, had their lives cut short in moments. And as one often hears about that moment, it was because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They did nothing to deserve or to provoke an attack that would cost them their lives. And yet there were those who had the moments to ponder what evil was about. And in those few moments, they seized the opportunity and knowingly risked all to stop the terror. On United Flight 93, passengers learned of the terror that was just then being inflicted on others. And in their brief time remaining, they took charge of their situation, using what little was at their disposal. These people, which included veterans of the Korean War, of World War II, students, blue-collar workers, some people on vacation, they all came together. And by making the decision to respond to the terror, they knew they were consigned to die. Some passengers called family to say goodbye. One explained in his call that the group was, quote, getting ready to break into the cockpit, unquote. He closed with, I have to go now. I love you. And another expressed the fullest measure of personal responsibility and optimism in the face of death and said, "It's up to us. I think we can do it." Most of us have heard the story of the husband and father of two whose wife was pregnant at home in New Jersey. Todd Beamer sought to speak with his wife one last time, but the most he could do was to convey his message through a stranger, an airphone operator. They recited the Lord's Prayer together, and then the operator heard his final words to the world as he and his fellow passengers mounted the charge that stopped another plane from being used as a weapon to kill more people on the ground. He said, "Let's roll." So from the attacks on fellow human beings, those who were struck without warning rose, and they would say no to the terrorists and strike back at such an evil philosophy and worldview. And then there were those who, in the midst of the carnage and horror, turned their backs to the risk of death and rose to save others. It is often suggested that the 343 firefighters, the 23 police officers, and the 37 members of the Port Authority knew that they were likely to die in their efforts to save others. I often wonder whether it's not actually a testament to the human spirit that instead, in the face of likely death, we yet carry with us the hope that we will survive. And so we reflect on the fact that those 403 people charged into the abyss, filled with dust and smoke and flames, and they did so to guide others to safety. And while they helped others climb out of the inferno, they themselves climbed deeper into the maw. It is with this light, coming to darkness now and then back into the light of dawn, that I rest on gratitude. We are now met on a daily basis with headlines and news clips, tweets, internet posts, and blogs, all attempting to call on the worst of human nature. This barrage often overwhelms. On this day, that insidious side of human behavior can be easily wiped aside. We can reflect that while we go about our days, pursuing our lives, many continue to work to protect and to serve. These are people who sacrifice daily because they believe that each person matters. No, we're not perfect in this, and there are examples that we sometimes fall short. But by and large, this is a nation built on the philosophy that each person matters, and that each should have the opportunity and freedom to pursue their own dreams and achieve their life's purpose. Such a commitment requires an open society, which presents us our greatest challenge: to continue to protect and preserve such a heritage and legacy against all foes, foreign and domestic, who would seek to destroy it. Ponder what that means on a daily basis. In this most open of societies, what it takes to protect and defend each of us every day, whether you're going to work, spending time with family, or just going to a baseball game. Those who would terrorize our society, who seek to change the fundamental purpose that each is free to choose her course in life, they merely must get lucky occasionally. On the other hand, those who seek to protect and defend without destroying the very essence of freedom have to be exceptional all the time, and do so constrained in their efforts by our Constitution and the laws. That is just one reason this society is unique in history and remains, even in the worst of our political debates, as a shining city on a hill, drawing to it all who would yearn for a breath of freedom. So today we are here, 15 years after our world was altered significantly, to demonstrate our commitment to that philosophy that every one of those lives mattered, and they matter still. The flight crews, the innocent victims, those who fought back, and those who sacrificed their lives to save others. Every one of their lives mattered, as do every one of yours. So I am actually grateful that from this tragedy of 9/11, our nation has confronted these threats while remaining open and a free society in which every person's life matters. And from these lessons of such sacrifice and service, from our continuing connection to the legacy we all share as human beings, we can carry with us the knowledge that in the darkest moments, our fellow patriots, most unknown to each of us, they will rise up in the face of those who would do harm, and in doing so, demonstrate the greatest of human sacrifice for others. Their demonstration of commitment to others call on the better angels in each and in all of us. It is with that in mind that we dedicate this day and this ground to the purpose for which this country was created, to remember in the continuing midst of our loss that our very freedoms are created by trust, by openness, by inclusion, and are upheld by each of us for a nation of the people, by the people, for the people. And through such commitment and sacrifice, it may live on and shall not perish from this earth. Thank you, and God bless you.